Welcome back to the Red Zone podcast. My name is Riley Davis, and with me, as always, is my wonderful, amazing, very happy co-host. Even though he's like, I'm shocked that this happened, but we all said it was gonna happen. Nate Cohen.
National champions, baby! Life is great. The birds are chirping.
No, they're not. It's
I
snowing.
totally didn't get a stomach virus the day after winning the Natty that's bedridden me for 4 of the last 5 days.
Did you miss school?
Yeah, I missed school on Tuesday, Wednesday, and I only had one class on Thursday and Friday, so I managed to go to those.
That's fair.
But
Dang,
I was bedridden Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So
that's fun.
nothing can break my stride. The Hoosiers are
And
national
is that right?
champions. We had our national championship celebration thing today. It was pretty cool. Currently, this winter storm that is hitting Bloomington is it's the one that's hitting the world right now, but we're getting it worse because we're in the Midwest. It's like 10, feels like -5. It's snowing a bunch outside right now. We're apparently supposed to get 15 to 18 inches tomorrow. Um, life's
We had
great.
an ice slash winter storm warning. And it's like 40 degrees. So I don't
It's
know
gonna
what's actually gonna happen.
it's gonna ice in our hometown. Like Atlanta's gonna get killed. And
Yeah.
both of us know that if there's any semblance of ice on the ground in Atlanta, that city is going to get shut down for the next week.
Well, because Snowmageddon happened. I literally saw a
They're,
thing
dude, they're going to
today
get
that said,
snowmageddon again this
yes,
time around.
I literally saw a thing today that was like, oh, like, tell me you're from Atlanta in like 4 words or less. And I literally, the first thing that came to my mind, because of like, that was on, like the weather was on my mind. I was like, Snowmageddon. And then someone had said it in the comments, and I was like, yes,
I
literally.
remember I remember in our senior year of high school, or maybe it was not senior year. One of the times in high school they canceled canceled school for a fear of snow because there was like a 99% chance it was going to snow like half an inch, and then it didn't even snow at all, and we just got a free day.
No, it was like actually quite nice outside, I want to say. Like
Yeah.
here it's
But
just like cold with the wind chill, but like most of it's supposed to happen tonight and it's like
here
a,
they pat you on the back, give you a middle finger, and force you to walk to class no matter what the weather is. Monday, it's a high of 10, low of -5. Um, so that'll be fun when they don't cancel class and I'll have to walk to school.
that'll be great. Well,
I'm
they'll
gonna have
cancel
so
us
much
out first.
fun. I'm gonna have so much
If it's
fun.
ice, the like the high schools in Richland County and stuff have already canceled school. So the university's just holding off, which is awesome. But I guess
Dude, the university would rather die than cancel school. They didn't cancel school for
yeah.
us after we won the Natty.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
thankfully,
fair. I
because
saw clips of
I
I
work
saw
in
clips of
sports.
like, oh, go ahead.
I work in sports, so like all of my classes were canceled, but like I think I saw the same clips you were probably about to
Like of like
mention.
an empty lecture hall.
That was Woodburn Hall 100. I know what video you're talking about, and I have a class
Yeah,
in that hall.
cool.
Um, I don't feel like I'm not doxing myself. If Indiana University, it's like everyone knows I'm here. Um, but yes, college football is sadly over, which is a shame. I'm I'm gonna miss it. This was a really fun year.
Is it 200 and how many days?
Oh no, too many.
I just saw a countdown of like it was like when it was 222 days, and then like I got sent it, and they're like, I need those 222 days to recover because obviously South Carolina had an interesting time. So,
Yeah, for you, well, yeah, but I mean, you can still miss college football without missing South
oh, I
Carolina.
can, but it's like I said, I don't know if I said this on the podcast or just us. I'm not thinking about it until next season. So.
Okay?
We're gonna see how it goes.
We can think about actual football, but as long as we don't bring up the Gamecocks, everything will be okay.
I mean actual football.
Oh, oh wow, that bad. Jesus
What do you mean?
Christ.
You said we could talk about actual football. Are we not actual football?
No, like we could talk about football that isn't South Carolina related, and you'll be
Okay.
fine.
I was like, what do you mean talk about actual football? We're not actual football. I'll fight you. Doesn't matter that
No,
like
no, 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 no. I meant like non-South Carolina related football.
fair, fair. I was
Um,
about to be like, hey man, we're still a football team.
I
We may
saw a
not be
tweet
good.
I saw a tweet that perfectly summed up this season that went something along the lines of this season started in Dublin, having Avery Johnson's family fist fighting each other in a puddle, and it ended with notorious porn star Abella Danger crying when Miami lost the national championship to known football powerhouse Indiana.
You like tell that to
The best
somebody
sport. It's the best
like
sport in the
two
world.
years ago. Tell people 2 years ago who the national
Just
championship
yeah,
was
who the national
this
championship was.
year.
Don't even say who. Just if you had told people after Michigan had beaten Washington in the national champ, well, I guess like that was a kind of weird year with Washington making it, but like even then, telling people
Okay,
after that year that the national championship would be Miami versus Indiana,
tell a 2023 Georgia fan that the national championship was Indiana and Miami with Carson Beck as
Carson
their
Beck playing
quarterback.
in that game in some capacity.
Like
But
that would be
college
like
football,
what?
I would I wouldn't have believed it.
No, I'd be like, are
College
you on
football is over.
crack?
Um, and it is now up to the Red Zone podcast to pick up the pieces and cover bowl season and cover some news. And then we're going to sign off for the season, podcast wise. You'll get our top 10 games of the
I
season.
was gonna
Jackson will
say
be
we're
on for
not
that.
done with things.
Maybe some content in March when the two of us are back together over spring break. But other than that, maybe some periodic videos now and then. But a lot of our main content is going to be done after this episode. So it's always our like bittersweet end of the year recap. But without further ado, let's get into some news. We You have announced a new format for the football playoff. Not like we're not changing the teams, which is good. I was very scared that the money was gonna rule all, and we were gonna expand to 16, which would suck. I think 16 teams is too many. 12 is perfect. I actually think this playoffs was seeded correctly. The teams that we had in the playoffs maybe weren't the most correct. That is getting amended in the new regs of the playoffs, but everything mostly went the way that it was supposed to go. But we have a few new additions. Chiefly the first one being that the group of five, we can't have what we had this year with two group of five teams making it. So we're getting rid of the five highest ranked conference champions, and we are fixing that with the Power Four getting each major conference champion getting an auto bid, with the group of six finishing out the fifth auto bid, which is I think it's a good decision. As much as I love having James Madison and Tulane in the playoffs, they were not on the same level as either of the two teams they played. Tulane put up a good fight, and James Madison put up a good fight in the second half. But I think one group of five team is like the perfect middle ground.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that also means that if a conference like the ACC decides to do what they did again this year, 8-5 Duke would have made the playoffs. So I think the playoff committee is just going to kind of have to hope that doesn't happen again.
I mean, yeah. I mean, because then you just be like, oh, good Lord, like we just changed this shit, and now they're back.
Yeah,
Um,
we did. Which,
did
to be
they?
fair, Duke would have put up the same fight as the group of five teams. Like Duke honestly
Yeah.
probably put up would have put up less of a fight than James Madison or Tulane this year.
James
So
Madison like tried to make a comeback.
it got close. They scored 34 points on Oregon. They scored the most points of almost
Yeah.
anyone in the in the first round. So like,
And then Oregon shut out Texas Tech.
and then the Peach Bowl. But
Yeah.
I think that's a good decision. I as long as we don't expand to 16 or 24, like it was talked about, that's fine. They
Or
said they're going to
24.
consider expansion to be possible in the future. I think we're going there. I think this is a one-way train to the playoff expanding, which is gonna suck. But money, 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 money. And then the second part of this, which is something we've already kind of talked about in the rivalry week episode, which is that Notre Dame is going to have a provisional that if they are in the top 12, they are an auto bid into the playoffs, which is stupid because no team
Yeah.
should be able to have that.
No, it's literally we talked about it all year about them being overranked. And then they weren't in the playoffs this year, and then they were like, "Hey man, what about me?" And
Have
they
you
threw a
seen the
hissy
clip?
fit.
Have you seen the clip from the documentary they have on Peacock where like Marcus Freeman is talking about how proud he was of his players that they opted out of the like Pop Tarts Bowl?
Was he
Like,
really?
yeah. He said it was like, oh, it was the players' decision. I was so proud of them. Like they made the right decision for our program. I'm like, dude,
No.
you like Notre Dame over the offseason has become the enemy of college football, which I feel like
Yes,
they always are to some
they
extent. It's like what
always
my
are
dad was
because
talking.
everyone's. We talked about this a little bit on like the episode with your dad about like there's sometimes where you're like, how can I like you like don't want to like them at some points, but then you do. Like last year, everyone wanted them to beat Ohio State, but then like literally like in this off season. Oh, that's I just remembered I was what I wanted to bring up later, but I'll save it for later. But literally, like in this off season, it's just the like it's always the hate of like, how are you still here? Literally, I had a crash out about this as well. Week 3, 0-2. I still cannot get over it. Why are you here? Why are you in the top 25 when you've lost? You haven't won a single game this season. You shouldn't be in the top 25. Any other team, literally pick any other team on the list. They're not ranked. Not even Alabama, Georgia,
Well,
Indiana for
Bama would have been ranked. You think the
probably.
brand
Bama made the
bias they
playoffs.
get? Yeah,
Bama made the playoffs. Anything is possible. But
Bama
like
shouldn't have made the playoffs. That much
pretty
is for damn
much that's why
sure.
I said anything's possible. Pretty much any other team.
Yeah,
0-2 in week
I agree.
3. What are they're not gonna be there.
I'll
What are
give
you
Notre
doing?
Dame. I'll give Notre Dame the one credit I will give them before crapping on them for the next probably 3 years. They looked really good after the two losses to Miami and Texas Tech and Texas A&M. Like, and to be fair, both those teams made the playoffs. The ranking them at 0-2 with those two being their only losses makes a little bit more sense in hindsight. It didn't at the time. In hindsight, it makes more sense because both those teams make the playoffs. Miami makes the national championship, and Notre Dame played well. All right, I'm done commenting them. Notre Dame's fans suck. They try to keep I whatever. It's not worth it. Notre Dame until they join a conference is just not going to garner the same respect from anyone. I think this offseason's been like the tipping point. Like I
Well, that
really just don't think
especially, it's like you
anyone
don't belong to a conference. You get an auto bid if you're in the top 12. You could get an auto bid by winning a
by
conference
winning a
championship
conference.
if you were capable of doing
If
so.
you remember flashback correctly to 2021 when Notre or 2020 in the COVID year or no after 2021 Notre Dame was in the ACC, waltzed their way through the conference, beat Clemson in the ACC championship game, made the playoffs.
Join a
It's
conference.
not that hard. Notre Dame could join the ACC, which is a laughing stock of a conference that has two good teams right now. Not even a laughing stock of a conference with one and a half good teams, and they would win or they would come close. They'd make the playoffs anyway. Like
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Now it's
Just
just
join the
everyone hates
ACC.
you.
Yeah, Notre Dame has. I think this is the most Notre Dame has ever been the enemy of college football. And I also think that it's probably this provisional thing. I think if they're on the bubble, the playoff committee is going to kick them out. Like I think if Notre Dame is like 11th or 12th or right on the cut line, I think the
Yeah.
playoff committee is just going to push
That's
them
what
to
I was like
13.
just about to say is like it's gonna bite you in the ass because then it's gonna be like, well, there's teams that deserve to be in the playoffs more. You're not gonna be ranked top 12, like flat out. Even if you
This is
deserve,
going to end
even if you
up
like want to fight about it, people are gonna be like, yeah, no, we don't want you this year. Like
Notre
you're
Dame is going to end up being the 12th best team or something like that. That could end up happening. And then the 10th best team in the country could miss out on the playoffs because of this provisional. Because think about the way that we go. We have the five conference champions, six, seven, eight, group of five, 10, nine, or so yeah, five
No,
champs,
five champs.
six, seven, eight, nine,
Group of five.
Notre Dame. No, group of five's in the five champs.
Okay.
And then I guess 11, 12. I don't know. The way that it would have gone this year, no, it would have been weird. As long if the playoff committee just fixes their stupid rankings, then this will be fine. Like,
Yeah.
but a lot hinges on it. I don't
Well, it's
know.
not fine. They just shouldn't have this agreement with Notre Dame. It's just
No,
yes.
but I'm gonna hope that this the same committee that had just kicked Notre Dame out of the playoffs for not losing a football game is going to do the same thing this year when they decide to put Notre Dame out of the playoffs. But who knows what'll happen there? Other news: Dabo went on a media rant yesterday against Ole Miss because apparently they were heavily tampering with his linebacker. There are some fun quotes in there. I like when people hate each other in college football. It's a blast. Um,
I don't like Dabo Sweeney, as I
no,
just
neither do
said.
I. And that's kind of it for main news. We're not really going to cover too much transfer portal stuff.
Oh, that's what I was gonna bring up. It's not news. Just I think it's really funny that people started hating on Carson Beck after they found out that he is not a college student anymore.
Okay, yeah, I don't really want to come to Carson Beck's defense, but like, dude, him and also 80% of college football right now.
Yeah.
Like Beck just said the loud part. Beck said the quiet part out loud, and
Hmm.
everyone hated on him for it. But like
Yeah.
everyone does that. Like I don't think
Everyone
Mendoza's
does it.
taking
Because I
classes at
remember I
IU.
did see a video of this like Miami fan coping heavily, but saying like, "Oh, you're like the oldest team in college football. Like you have so many grad students, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Your quarterback also graduated 2 years ago. Like,
Yeah,
no,
that was
like,
another big media thing. So IU during the playoffs was a funny team when it came to like Twitter hot take demon, which isn't real, by the way. Like it's stupid and it isn't real and Twitter sucks. What and so what the mouth breathers on the internet were saying, which we shouldn't even like platform them. But the main thing that people brought up against Indiana was that this is a college, like this is an NFL team. Their average age is 23. Yeah, it's not great. I personally would like my team to not be that, but like it's the new age of college football. Play the game. Like every other team does it. I don't know what you want me to say. Um, like I use just they're playing the game, and also, but like we still do have a lot of like Mendoza's a redshirt junior. Like Surratt's a grad player, but like Hemby and Kalen Black are both, I think, seniors. Like, yeah, our team's old, but it's a bunch of like seniors and juniors. Like, we only have a few players that are like really bad, like have like sixth and seventh year players. Like EJ Williams played for Clemson in like the 2020 playoffs. But like we only have a few players like that are like that. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's the game. The game's the game. That's that. This is just what new age college football is. Like,
no." I just thought it was funny of everyone being like, "This man
yeah.
graduated 2 years ago." Like,
Um, and I guess the one transfer portal bit of news we will talk about was Dylan Raiola committed to Oregon. Everyone was like, "Oh, like yeah, I mean that's a downgrade from Dante Moore, but like he's going to the draft, whatever. Like you need to
but
get someone." And then Dante Moore looked at the draft, realized he was going to get drafted by the Jets, thought that probably coming back to college was a better than going and dying under center in New York. Came back to college, and now it looks like Dylan Raiola is either going to have to transfer or sit for another year, which is hilarious.
which is hilarious.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Currently, I think he said he's planning on staying at Oregon, but I would not be surprised if he like wanted to decide to transfer somewhere.
I wouldn't either. I'd want to like play.
Yeah. Um, and let's get to the football.
Oh my gosh, I
Um,
forgot we talked about that.
oh my God. So I think we're gonna go bowl games, and then we're gonna talk about the playoffs. We'll
Bowl
go
games are gonna
first
be so
rounds.
fast.
Yeah, bowl games. Bowl season this year was funny. Don't get me wrong. An incredibly funny bowl season with stuff happening, but the games themselves were like fine. I thought that this bowl season was worse than last bowl season. But there were still some fun ones in there. We'll go through all the scores, but like we won't cover like we'll cover like or six games that were meaningful. Kickoff bowl season, Washington beat the tar out of Boise State 38-10 in the LA Bowl. Jacksonville State beat Troy in the Veterans Salute to Veterans Bowl 17-13. Old Dominion beat South Florida 24-10 in the Staff DNA Cure Bowl. Great season for Old Dominion. I thought that I'm not even just hyping them up because IU beat them earlier in the year. They are a legitimately good team.
Yeah,
They
we
are
almost
gonna
lost it last year.
Yeah. Well, also our first play of the year was Old Dominion scoring a 75-yard touchdown on us. So like that was literally the first play of IU's season was Old Dominion scoring a 75-yard quarterback keep.
Going back in
So
time, did that feel like, oh shit, like what a rough
oh,
season
I
that could
was
have been?
I was not too like worried after that. I think actually you can probably go back and I don't remember what I said on this podcast after that game, but I think I just said something of like, yeah, like we have a lot of new players, like this will happen. But also at the time I was still under the vase that I thought this team was going to go 9-3 or 8-4. Like I didn't expect this team to be as good as they were last year. I wasn't fully sold on Fernando yet. Like I thought he was going to be good, but I didn't think he was going to be like a Heisman winner. Like no one at that point knew this team was that special. So I
We
just
gotta
kind
go
of looked at it and I
back
was
in
like, yeah,
time.
shit happens.
We gotta go back in time and like, because when we were talking about this, we gotta see when it was exactly that you were like, we're the best team in the country before it was like set in
It might
stone.
have been after the Oregon game,
Was it?
or if it isn't the Oregon game, it's after like it probably won't be until like the Big Ten championship.
It's definitely before that.
It might be after we beat. It might be after the Omar Cooper catch. But anyway, Delaware beats Louisiana 20-13 in the 68 Ventures Bowl. Shout out Delaware winning a bowl game in their first season in FBS. Um, out. They have really good uniforms. Arkansas State beat Missouri State 34-28 in the Xbox Bowl. This had the coolest trophy of any bowl game. Master Chief was on the field. The offensive MVP and
That's
defensive
crazy.
MVP trophies were like the achievement things that come on the bottom of the screen on Xbox. They did an incredible job with the
That's
branding of this
sick.
bowl game.
That's good branding.
Dude, Master Chief rode a warthog onto the field at the beginning of the game. It was the coolest shit I've ever seen.
That's crazy.
That was like one of the most dudes rock type of thing I've ever seen. Western Michigan beat Kennesaw State 41-6 in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Sad hootie hoos, but also a 10-win season for a team that was kind of one of the worst in all of college football is nothing to scoff at. Congratulations to the hootie hoos. We got but that's one that you and I are like we know people that go there. So
We do.
I have a little like I'd root for Kennesaw State over more most teams.
Yeah, I
And
feel like if I have a friend, if it's not a big school like Georgia, no offense, Jackson, um, like I'll be
no,
like,
full
oh, like
offense, Jackson. We hate your school and we hate you.
we don't hate Jackson at
No, we
all.
don't. We love
He's
Jackson. He's
coming
actually
back
going to be
soon,
on
actually.
next week. Yeah,
Yeah, he's coming back
yeah
soon, so we
he'll be
definitely
back
don't hate him.
soon.
No, I was just
God,
like,
he's going
it's
to
like
put 10 Georgia games in
I
his
have
list.
like, he's gonna what?
He's going to break the rules and he's just going to put 10 Georgia games in his list. Oh,
We said he gets one.
yeah. But who do you think realistically? Do you think Jackson's going to follow those rules?
Who knows? He might have like a serious list and then like a
A joke list,
like
yeah.
a he's gonna like start off
I
and be like number
I think
one.
I should get an exemption and I should be able to put the national championship at number one
You're watching the
because
national championship with no dog in the fight.
I actually thought it
Or
was a
sorry,
really good
you're
game.
separate. Oh.
Oh, I thought the second half was really good.
I said the first half was boring.
Yeah, the first half was very boring. If
And
you
then
weren't a fan of
I was
either,
watching it, I was like, oh, I thought this was about to be like super
second
exciting.
half was
And then the
incredible
second
though.
half was great.
Um. Anyway, what were you saying?
Oh, like he's gonna start off and be like, number one, Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Number
Number
two,
two, Georgia versus Tennessee. Number three, Georgia versus Marshall.
number four. It's gonna be all the Georgia wins. But
That's what the
he definitely
honorable
has a
mention
serious
list.
chance.
We need to limit the honorable mention list to like 3 games each. Because my
You know
honorable
what my
mention list
freaking
is just going to
what
be
honorable
every
mention am
single.
I saying for the Gamecocks when we beat Virginia Tech?
Yeah, that
No.
was fun. You had fun, right?
No, actually, Jackson really likes playing in Mercedes-Benz Arena. I did not have a good experience playing in the Benz
But they're
just
also,
because
was it
of the
packed?
setup we had. Huh?
Was it packed for you guys? Or
Yeah, like decently well.
I was about to say, I said you were happy after that game, but if I actually remember correctly, you
I was
weren't
not
after the
happy
Jordan
after that
Virginia
game.
Tech game.
And I literally was saying, I was like, we're in trouble. And you were like, you won. And I was like, no, we're in trouble. And then
I
look
think
what
both of us were
happened.
right. I think both of us were right. I was right because your defense actually did play well. And I was like, I was trying to get you to realize that your defense didn't allow a single touchdown.
But then didn't Virginia Tech proceed to be like, okay?
No, bad. Virginia Tech was very bad. They were one of the worst
Yeah.
Power Four teams.
So looking back, our defense not allowing a single touchdown didn't do that much for
Hey man, they did the job they had to do.
it would be a
Um,
steal.
yeah, and then NC State beat Memphis 31-7 in the Gasparilla Bowl to finish as God intended, 8-5, which I feel like NC State finishes every single year. Um,
They're like, you have to fulfill the prophecy.
Then the Boca Raton Bowl, which was actually one of the games I want to talk about, because the end of this game, I don't know if you watched this, was absolutely ridiculous. Louisville was up four, so Louisville won 27-22. Toledo, by the way, once again showing up in bowl season. If no one got me, I know Toledo got me. Um, the fourth quarter went like this. The drive chart was legitimately hilarious. So touchdown to put Louisville up 21-3. Touchdown for Toledo to make it 21-11. Three and out punt, field goal to make it 21-14. Touchdown for Louisville that Toledo blocks and brings all the way back for a 2-point conversion to make it 27-16. Touchdown Toledo to make it 27-22 with a failed 2-point conversion. And then an end of game drive that had 6 plays and 5 fights.
Five fights. Good
Something along the
Lord.
lines, a brawl that like went onto the sideline. There was some guy on crutches that got like wiped out. They were just beating the shit. There was like this Toledo players surrounded by like 20 Louisville players that were just kicking him. They were just beating the shit. They started trying to fight each other after the game was over. Like it was legit. It just like at a certain point in the fourth quarter, these two
Bushy
teams got
Boca
really
Raton
tired of
Bowl.
each other. Hey man,
Lord.
that bowl of beans that they all ate out of at the end of the game. It was an allure to win the
Sanitary.
game. But that shout out Toledo for always bringing the entertainment during bowl season. Because if you remember correctly, last year they played Pitt in the game above Sports Bowl, and that was that game that went to 8 overtimes that I put into
Yeah.
my top 10 list of best
Which why
games of the
not?
year. Well,
Yeah.
because like I think when you get down to like 8, 9, and 10, it's like you can really just put whatever you want there. Because there's
Whatever.
so many
We had the
good
same
games
like
in
top
college
five,
football.
didn't we?
We almost had the same. I think we had the same top five minus
I
like I
think we
think
swapped
this
one and two.
we stopped 1 and 2 because I put Georgia Bama to 1, and you put I think you put
What did we
maybe it
put?
was like Ohio State Oregon or something like that,
Maybe. I that list
or
is
maybe it was
so
Penn State Notre Dame. Both of us were really high on that game.
hold on. When was the did I like make is that on this
I
computer?
have a list for mine,
I do too, but
but
I don't
anyway,
have
while
it.
you find yours, I'll keep reading through the other bowls that weren't as interesting. Western Kentucky beat Southern Miss 27-16. Ohio beat UNLV 17-10 in the Frisco Bowl. Something of note that happened here is instead of a Gatorade bath after the game, they did an iced coffee bath of the head coach, which I can't imagine feels great. I bet I bet you smell bad after that. It's the
You
smell of
smell
old
bad.
coffee.
You can smell bad, I feel like, after time has passed. But initially, I feel like that'd be nice.
I
Like
hate the
a
smell of coffee.
coffee. They make coffee, like they make coffee, like shampoo. But I don't remember any of the
That's a
benefits
red
of that.
flag. It's a red flag if you use that. Um,
Used it once.
Hawaii beat Cal 35-31, and actually an incredible game. Hawaii came back in the fourth quarter. They were down at one point 21 nothing, came all the way back to win 35-31 with like a pretty much a touchdown with 10 seconds left. Um, Once again, shout out Hawaii's kicker who learned how to kick off of YouTube, who we talked about in week one because they beat Stanford and then they
I
end their
forgot
season by
about
beating
that.
Cal. Yep, that was all
I
this
forgot
year.
about that. Yeah. What a
Um,
year.
it has
This
been
year
a
felt long.
yeah. Northwestern beat Central Michigan 34-7 in the game above Sports Bowl. Minnesota beat New Mexico 20-17 in overtime in the Rate Bowl. New Mexico's uniforms were outstanding, but they weren't able to finish the job. UTSA beat Florida International 57-20 in the First Responders Bowl. Um, then we got to an actual good day of football where we have games that we can actually talk about. BYU beats Georgia Tech 25-21 in the Pop Tarts Bowl, which we watched together.
We did.
Um,
Did you
this was
see the
actually,
interview with BYU's coach talking about like all the Pop Tarts he'd tried that week in preparation?
yes. Dude,
Yep.
I bet being a player at the Pop Tart Bowl, so you just get to eat Pop Tarts, bro.
If you win.
I love Pop Tarts. I know
See,
that's
I haven't
like,
had that many Pop Tarts in my life.
I haven't either. I really didn't have Pop Tarts until I was like 17 because so it's a running bit in my family. One night for Hanukkah, well, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. My parents didn't have anything to get me, so they went out to a CVS and got me a box of Pop Tarts. And so
What
every
flavor?
single year, I just get a box of Pop Tarts.
What flavor?
The first year they got me frosted strawberry, and then I think they got me frosted strawberry again because I it's just a good flavor. And then this year though, I got
What kind of
wild
flavor?
berry and sugar cookie.
Wild berry.
It was not bad, and sugar cookie was also not bad.
They have
Little,
protein Pop Tarts now, did you know?
I do. Maybe that could be an off-season content video.
Trying protein
Trying
Pop
Pop Tart
Tarts.
flavors.
Oh, just all the Pop Tart flavors.
I think
I'd
that
be
would,
down.
unless we could get individual Pop Tarts, that would be a lot. But we could figure it out.
Well, I mean, it's two per
We
pack.
no, but then you have to get the box that has 4 packs in it.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
what are we doing with the rest of the Pop Tarts? We can try like weird
We'll
flavors.
figure out logistics of this.
Yeah.
We could donate
But
them
I
somewhere.
thought Pop Tart Bowl delivered as always. There was chaos. There was Pop Tarts. I actually thought the game itself was good. BYU came back in the fourth quarter, pretty much entirely in the fourth quarter to win. Um, BYU Tech had a chance at the end, but Haynes came through an interception. And then they were going to sacrifice all the Pop Tarts, and then one of them ran away and said, "You'll see me again." So I expect that to be a storyline next year.
Yeah. Or
They
I
also had
feel
a
like we just
thing,
get Pop Tart Bowl like content in the middle of the year.
dude. Did you see? And they started. They had a commercial that ran during the national championship where they like fully referred to themselves as the People's National Championship.
Yes, I think it's hilarious.
I love the Pop Tarts Bowl. I think it's the greatest thing that's happened to college football in years because like it's made other bowls try. Like
Hmm.
we would not be seeing what we saw with like the Xbox Bowl, the Bush's Baked Beans Bowl, whatever the fuck it was. Or like any other of these bowls because of the work the Pop Tarts Bowl has put into making bowl games mean something again. So it's cool. And it's helped that I think all three Pop Tart Bowls have been really good. Like
Yes.
really good game because they get good teams. They pretty much get two of like the first teams out of the playoffs.
And Notre
So
Dame could have been
like
involved in that.
they could
But
have, but
no,
they were too cool.
they were too
I
cool.
guess there's like too much funny stuff to mention that happened during this bowl. I think the funniest, maybe not the funniest, but like the hippies funniest thing that happened in the bowl is them having a Pop Tart and wine pairing menu, which is just funny. They're
I
like,
just
here's
remember
what
seeing like
wine to pair with
the
your Pop
special
Tarts.
menu.
Um,
Like, and it was like, wasn't there like, or was that the Cheez It? Like, they
the
were gonna
Cheez
do
It Bowl,
like
I think.
nachos with the Pop Tarts or something like that.
Well, because
It
I
was,
think the Cheez Its Bowl and the Pop Tarts Bowl collabed because they were both in the same stadium.
yeah,
So they
it might
like
have
did
been
work
because I
together.
was there.
Um,
Um,
Virginia beat Missouri in a very boring Gator Bowl, 13 to 7. I guess that was like another storyline. A storyline that started to develop during bowl season with the SEC just continued to get absolutely obliterated by most of the opponents they played. Houston beat LSU 38 to 35
I
in
was
a
gonna say,
very good
which
football
brings us
game.
very nicely into the Texas Bowl.
The playoffs.
Yeah,
North
it was
Texas beat San Diego State 49 to 47 in a absolutely insane New Mexico Bowl. North Texas was dominating for pretty much the entire game until San Diego State exploded for 27 fourth quarter points. Comeback was just short though. That would have been probably one of the best games of the year if they had finished it off. East Carolina beat Pitt 23 to 17 in the Military Bowl. Penn State beat Clemson 22 to 10 in the Pinstripe Bowl. Army beat UConn 41 to 16 in the Fenway Bowl, and Fresno State beat Miami, Ohio 18 to 3 in the Arizona
Arizona Bowl.
Bowl, which was funny because Snoop Dogg fell on the field trying to field a kickoff, which I just thought was
His
cool.
bowl.
Um, oh, wait, I can actually talk about this a lot. The J Lab Birmingham Bowl. The App State lost 10 to 29 to Georgia Southern. And you might ask yourself, Nate, what do you have to talk about the Birmingham Bowl? Well,
Oh, he's going on a field trip.
um, load. I had
There's a
field
little
passes.
background blur.
That's what I'm trying to show. I watched pretty much the entire game from the field. Um, Shouts out to the people that allowed that to happen. My dad and I just kind of on a very cold Birmingham day decided to drive the 2.5 hours, got free tickets. We were in the club, which was cool. Saw Ed Reed. I don't know what he was doing at the Birmingham Bowl. Um, and that was very cool. Being able to like be on the field for the whole game was like awesome. There wasn't like a lot of people there. The game itself was fine, but like getting field passes to a football game is pretty cool. Um, and big fan of the Birmingham Bowl. Yeah, that's my connection with the Birmingham Bowl.
Well,
Um,
we live in Georgia.
TCU, huh?
And we live in Georgia. Well, not currently,
I was cheering
but
for App State.
dang.
Well, because Georgia Southern is Georgia State's biggest rival. So,
Oh, yeah.
and Georgia State, I would say, is my third favorite team.
Or is it going Indiana, Alabama, Georgia State?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And then it's just like a whole mishmash of teams from four onwards.
Fair enough.
Um, TCU beat USC 30 to 27 in overtime after maybe some of the worst tackling I've seen from a single football team ever. The touchdown that TCU scored to win, I cannot believe that he didn't get tackled a single time in that. Just dramatic, hilarious football game. Perfect, just kind of like summary of USC football. Um, Louisiana Tech beat Coastal Carolina 23 to 14 in the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Um, and Illinois beat Tennessee 30 to 28 in the Music City Bowl. Once again, another SEC team that got kind of killed. Um,
Hey,
and
but
now,
next is the opposite.
yes, we get to New Year's Eve. I didn't watch a lot of these because I was in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. So New Year's Eve games, I was kind of enjoying LA. Cool city, by the way. Texas beat Michigan 41-27. I actually did get to catch some of this because I was at a Top Golf while it was ending. So we just had it on the TV. Um, Iowa beat Vanderbilt 34-27. A little bit of humble pie for Diego Pavia, who had made fun of Iowa the year before. Um, Utah beat Nebraska 44-22 in the Las Vegas Bowl. And Duke beat Arizona State 42-39 in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, which was actually a very good game, which included players jumping into a bowl of inflatable frosted flakes, which was some after scoring touchdowns, the players would like beeline over to this like bowl of frosted flakes and like jump in
Yeah.
it. It was pretty
I
cool.
want to jump into a giant bowl of something. Like they've had the giant bowl of Cheez-Its, they've had the giant like
We should go to like
frosted.
Sky Zone then. We can like recreate it by jumping into the foam pit.
We just like edit a bunch of stuff. Like we change the foam into all
Yeah.
different sorts of things. Pop Tarts, Cheez-Its, um, Frosted Flakes.
Yeah. And then the final few bowl games talk about SMU beat Arizona 24-19 in the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl. Texas State beat Rice 41-10 in the Armed Forces Bowl. This
Which
game, yep.
had a bit of an issue with their pre-game parachuting, with one of the parachuters getting stuck in the field goal netting and then falling. But he was fine. He walked away. But yeah, just a little.
Did you see it also like two of the people that were supposed to parachute in just missed the stadium?
Really? I thought they only had two parachuters.
No, I think they had like four, and like two of
Oh,
them missed the stadium completely.
good
Um,
lord.
Navy beat Cincinnati 35-13 in the Liberty Bowl, and then Wake Forest beat Mississippi State 43-29 in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. That was all the bowl games. So now we
Which
can talk
brings us to
about the playoffs.
yes.
It was
We
a good
talked a little bit about
CFP.
the playoffs in our video before this, but this is like
Well, we
actually
didn't talk about any of the games specifically. We just kind of
no. We
like
just kind of talked about like the semis.
a little bit. We didn't talk about the semis like in detail. We just
Yeah.
kind of previewed the Natty. Overall, I thought it was a better playoffs than last year. I thought there were a
Yeah.
lot of good games. Um,
There's some good games, but then a lot of that weren't as great.
Maybe it didn't reach the highs last year's playoffs did. Like I don't think there was a game. Well, actually, that's not true. I actually think there was one game in the playoffs this year that was similar to Notre Dame, Penn State for me personally. Not like any Indiana game. I actually thought the Sugar Bowl was
Oh,
maybe the best, one of the best games of the year.
that was a good game. I thought
Like
like
that
first
will
round was
spoilers,
mostly not amazing, and then like some of the quarterfinals besides the Sugar Bowl was like, oh,
spoilers. The Sugar Bowl will be on my list, and it
fair.
will be high. It will
That'd
be
be
top five
damn.
probably. Um, but yeah, I thought overall it was a good playoffs. Like I thought there were intrigue, good storylines. Two
Especially
fourths of the
going in
first
with
round games
the
were
James
good.
Madison presence on Twitter. That's just good going into the first round of the playoffs. Beautiful
Shout
Twitter
out.
presence.
God, I love that account so much. I'm so
It
sad
was
that the football season's
hilarious.
over.
It was so good of them like oh like small teams like Oregon or Alabama and they're like so that
Dude,
real franchises like James
they
Madison,
kept calling us James Madison Bloomington,
which is hilarious.
which is not
Like y'all
wrong.
have
Like half our team's
spaghetti.
from James Madison.
Yeah, that is a and you have Sig.
Like I would say two fourths of the first round games were good, which is better than last year when zero fourths of the first round games were good and all of them were blowouts. So at least two of them being good this year is a step up. Maybe next year there'll be three. Um,
And
but
then
let's get
by
into those
next year,
games. Starting with a game that we have already sort of covered in the vlog, the Bama Oklahoma game that happened while. So, like the first round games, we've already kind of sort of talked about a little bit.
because we were together for them.
But we can go into a little bit more depth. I thought Alabama Oklahoma was one of the stupidest football games I've ever watched.
I was
Um,
crashing out the whole time we were watching this.
I wasn't crashing out. I was just laughing because I was like, it
No,
was
it was more
exactly
of
the
like it
performance
was. I would say it was a crash out because it was like every other play of going like this is so stupid. Like
because it
literally
no,
every
that's
other
why I was
play.
like, it wasn't a crash out because I was never really like too annoyed watching this game. It was exactly what I expected out of this
Yeah,
Alabama team.
it was more just
Like
like this team is so dumb, and I was like,
it is.
okay.
That Alabama team, one, shouldn't have been in the playoffs. Two, shouldn't have won the game against Oklahoma. Like,
And then it
and
was
that's
proved
coming from
right in the
a
quarterfinals.
an Alabama fan who has stood by. I cheered against them in the Rose Bowl, but
Most
it's because that's
Alabama
my
fans were
college.
surprised that you even made the playoffs. Like,
My dad and me were texting during that game, just being like, "How has this Bama team they rushed for -4 yards in the first half of that game against Oklahoma, and they were somehow tied."
this is like, this is when we were talking about other teams wouldn't be ranked and they were 0-2, and you were like, well, Bama probably would. Yeah, they made the playoffs,
For
and
the amount of shit I gave Georgia for the last few years of them bullshitting their way through games and like somehow managing to win, this Bama team this year was they were pretty close. Well, we can like full diagnostic Bama's year after talking about the Rose Bowl, but like this game was like pretty much the entire year in a nutshell. Um, Oklahoma owns the two biggest playoff chokes of all time. Um, I thought
which is
they
hilarious.
looked. I thought John Mateer looked awful. I thought they couldn't get a single thing going. Yeah, they had a glimpse at the start of the fourth quarter, and then their kicker, who hadn't missed a thing all year, missed two field goals in the fourth quarter, and it was wraps from there. Um, I don't know
Missing
how
a
this
field goal is
Oklahoma
just like one of
team.
the most like ugh ways to like lose a
If
game.
I was an Oklahoma fan, I would have been so mad. Like that would have been like that is losing at home to this Alabama team that they had managed to beat earlier in the year. Like hilarious football game. Truly, like this game might. It, this game would be the one that I jokingly put at 10 of my top 10 list because of how funny it was. Like genuinely,
This if anything, it's an honorable mention of funny.
if anything, this is one of the worst 10 games of the year. This was just bad football from both teams. But we commend them for it because bad football is fun. If you take anything away from the Red Zone podcast, it's that when football is funny and bad, it's incredible.
It is.
This was that game. That was
Yeah,
funny bad football.
fair enough.
Um, but anyway, just LOL. Oregon beat James Madison 51-14. Shout out James Madison,
They put up a
honestly,
fight
for
in the second half of this game.
James Madison put up maybe the best fight of any of the teams other than Texas A&M that lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Well,
They
especially since like I believe we watched the first like quarter of this game
Yeah, we
maybe, and
watched
then went
about the
to
first half
dinner.
of this game.
And then we came back and they were like fighting again. And we were like, okay, like dang, like good on James Madison for not giving up. I mean, I feel like of the teams that like people were like, why are they like I would if imagine you're a Notre Dame fan and you're mad that James Madison made it in the playoffs over you because there's two group of fives like teams in the playoffs, and so it's like in theory one of them is in your spot. James Madison gave up like a fight enough to prove that they did belong here, in my opinion. Just because it's like they're a group of five team that like made some waves actually, and like you're
Yeah,
going up against who is currently ranked as the number five seed in this whole thing. So it's like you're the 12th seed, they're the five seed. Like you gave up like a fight, as opposed to like the other group of five team is like the number 11 seed going up against the six seed, and like they didn't put up as like crazy as like
actually,
effort. They fought, but it's like the score line comparatively, like 34-51 compared to like 11-41 or 10-41.
yeah,
It's just like James Madison fought for this, and like they kind of proved like we did deserve a spot in the playoffs. We fought it out, so
yeah.
good on
I
them.
think I think no one like James Madison should hold their head high.
Mhm.
This is a good Oregon team. I know the way that it ended in the Peach Bowl, but like it was a good Oregon team whose only two losses this year came to the national champion. Like you can mention, oh, they didn't play anyone, they didn't beat anyone good, but they killed Texas Tech in the quarterfinals. That game was not close. Like this is a good Oregon
Not
team
at
that
all.
James Madison, yeah, the first half was not great. They were down by 28 going into the second half, but they outscored Oregon in the second half. Like they put themselves in a situation to be respected. I think that's why the group of five spot needs to like stay in the playoffs. Two
Hmm.
group of five teams is a little much, but like James Madison proved themselves. That was a it was a great performance. Um, they did kind of get killed. Like all their players are leaving, and their coach went somewhere else. But we'll see what happens. They got Billy Napier coming in. It'll be an interesting team to follow, James Madison for the next year.
We already know they have a great media presence.
Yeah. And then talking about the other group of five team, Tulane, they lost 41-10. Scoreline's going to make that look a lot worse than it was for Tulane. The main issue for them was just bad execution. They actually probably had, I think they had either more or close to the same amount of total yardage as Ole Miss did. They just failed on a lot of fourth down conversions, which they needed to do to try and stay in the game. It was a good, I actually really liked the game plan Tulane went in there with, but execution wasn't there. Ole Miss was just the better team.
Most,
They had the hate flowing through them,
yeah, I was
and
gonna say the most unfortunate thing about how far Ole Miss made it is that Lane Kiffin gets the bonus for all of those games.
yeah, but you know his ass is pissed off about it.
Yes, especially when
Um,
LSU doesn't make the playoffs next year.
yeah, and then Miami versus Texas Tech, which was
Tech
not a
fan.
great football game. The first only touchdown of this game was scored with 2 minutes left
Which,
in the
to
fourth
give like
quarter.
a little bit of like, we had this game on while we were in the car on the way back
It was
from
from
where?
Memphis to Birmingham.
From Memphis to Birmingham. I was like half asleep, like not really paying attention, and then like heard a touchdown. It was kind of like finally like I was brought back awake just by like waiting that long in this game for a friggin' touchdown. Truly amazing.
This game was 0-0 going into halftime.
Which was
Just
so
a
random.
man, talk about this Texas A&M team. 11-0 going into DKR, a spot in the SC championship game there if they won 12-0. Probably would have been ranked second or third in the playoff rankings. Lose to Texas. Offense kind of goes flat, and then it's just Marcel Reed, and they just look bad against Miami, and the season ends. And this best season in A&M history is going to kind of just slowly die. And I know the whole
Just
year,
fizzle out in a 0-0 at the half game.
and I know the whole year we talked about, man, this is going to be the year A&M gets over the battered Aggie syndrome. Like, but boy, that might be the biggest case of battered Aggie syndrome I have ever seen. The way that they ended this year, I don't expect A&M to go anywhere. I think Elko's a really good coach. They have a good core there, but boy, what a way to
Yeah.
end your season. Carson Beck did nothing. 14 for 20 for
No, he
103 and a
had a
touchdown. He
bad
didn't
game
need to,
hands down, like
but
on
he didn't
either
need to.
side.
Mark Fletcher was unstoppable in this game. 17 carries for 172. This is when everyone started to realize, like, oh, this Miami team is a lot better than what they looked like in the regular season. Um, that
Still a super bad
defense,
team.
Keontae Scott, Ruben Bain, Hakeem Mesidor, they are maybe the best defense in the country. Um, they showed it during this game, really locked down, forced Marcel Reed into a lot of mistakes. But yeah, battered Aggie syndrome, man. What a way for A&M to end probably the best year they've ever had. Um, and then it took us on to the quarterfinals, which started with the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, where Miami upset Ohio State 24-14. And hands in the air, we were wrong as a podcast. We said that Ohio State was going to beat Miami by 50, and
Yes.
we were
You
wrong.
want to talk about a game where Miami proved that it wasn't the same team as the regular season? It would be
They
this one.
looked so good in this game. Offense did what it needed to do. I actually think Beck's stat line is it's while it's not great, I actually thought he played well in a game manager role. They didn't need him to make any mistakes, and he didn't. He actually threw a good game, 19 for 26, 138 and a touchdown. Once again, they kept off the back of Mark Fletcher, 19 carries for 80 yards. Though it was weird. Just Ohio State was just getting bullied in the trenches during this whole game, which we had just never really seen happen to them. But I think this really exposed Ohio State's O line was atrocious. IU, IU could do whatever we could do whatever we wanted against them in the Big Ten championship. We think we ended up getting like 6 sacks in that game. Miami finished this game with like 4 or 5. Hakeem Mesidor led with 2 sacks. Um, and it just the lack of intensity and strength and really all of that from this Ohio State team. And once again, the same trap they always fall into, which was just cautious play calling.
Yeah,
They let Miami win this game.
which is unfortunate, especially in the freaking court finals. That's not the time for that.
I thought Sayan looked really bad too. Like I know his stat line looks fine. He threw 2 interceptions, one of which was a pick six right before half that led to Miami being up. I think it was 14-0 at halftime. Um, he looked bad. He looked jittery in the pocket. He couldn't have his feet under him. Just didn't look like the same quarterback that we had seen throughout the year. Um, and yeah, Jeremiah Smith tried his best. 7 receptions for 157 and a touchdown. But Ohio State fell. And it's one of those games where if they didn't win the national championship last year, I would be I would be calling for Ryan Day. I would be calling for there to be questions about Ryan Day. Obviously, they won the Natty last year, so you can't do that. But it is interesting to bring up how this Ohio State team, with the exception of last year, loses these big games because of just being too cautious, not wanting to treat this like it's just a normal football game. Um,
Because you got it, like, of all the times, like we just said about Carson Beck, like, Miami needed him to, like, not make mistakes. And, like, his stat line wasn't, like, impeccable, but it was, like, good enough to
it
get the
did the
job
job.
done. And
Yeah.
that's what you need, especially in the bigger games, is, like, you have to treat it, like, yes, it's very important. It is, like, the big game. Like, you have to win this game to keep going to the playoffs, all this stuff. It's like just the fact of like, well, if you can't just do what you need to do, then you're not making any sort of like progress or any sort of headway in the big games. Like you need to be able to do what you need to do, not just be overly cautious and not doing anything or like not making the moves that are necessary to win anything.
I thought Ohio State just looked timid in this game. They looked like a team that was scared of getting punched in the face. Like, and they did. They got punched hard at the beginning, and they never recovered. Like, it's soft. Like, I think soft's a good way to describe this Ohio State team. They couldn't deal with the pressure. Big Ten championship game. It was the first time they had been down in the second half the entire year, and they turtled. Like they didn't score a single point in the second half against us in the Big Ten championship. You saw their play calling like regress, and you saw the same thing here in the Cotton Bowl. When they needed to stick up and get a stand, they did it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ohio State. I wonder how much longer they'll allow this to happen. Obviously, if next year they're like a national championship contending team and yada yada yada, then whatever. But this is starting to become a little bit of a pattern. Obviously, with the exception of the national championship last year. Um, Next quarterfinal game, Oregon Texas Tech would have been in chronological order. Um, Oregon beats Texas Tech 23-0. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch a lot of this football game because I was at the Rose Bowl parade and then I was at the Rose Bowl. So, and I lost service pretty much during the third quarter of this game that I didn't recover until after the Rose Bowl was over. So I will default to you on this. You can lead the
Okay.
way with what you thought about this game.
All right. Well, Texas Tech looked horrendous. But you could tell that just
Wow.
based on like you could tell that just based on legitimately you don't even have to watch the game. And you could read the fact that it was like 23-0 and just know that pretty bad. Truly, like every single drive that they had this game was horrendous because they didn't like it's literally like I think the max plays they had was 6 plays, I want to say. No. They had one turnover on downs that was 12 plays. So that was for 57 yards. And that was like legitimately the longest drive that they had in the entire game. It is. It's like in the third quarter, the longest drive they
Oh,
had was
yeah.
12 plays for 57 yards, four
Yeah.
minutes. That's the longest drive they had the whole game, and every single like drive either ended with a punt or a fumble or well, they had an opportunity for points, so they missed the field goal. Just bad, not good, especially for being like expecting like it's one of the games like you do expect a good game because they're the 4 seed and the 5 seed. It's like going into this game, it's could have been
I thought
good.
I thought this had the chance to be the best game of the second round.
Well, because if you
Bec-
look like going into it, it is a good, exciting matchup. But then
Yeah, Texas
they're
Tech's
just
Texas Tech's
terrible.
defense was Texas Tech's defense has been incredible the whole year. The offense, while not being as good as the defense, was able to win
Yeah.
games. They just killed BYU in the Big 12 championship, who's
They
not a
just
bad
didn't
team.
gain like any traction in this game
And I
once.
thought better. I think Better and Morton let them down hard. Two interceptions, a fumble. I think it was
Mm.
bad performance. You just aren't
Just
going to
like
win a football
no,
game
like
like that.
yeah. We talked about like we literally just talked about being able to do like the bare minimum to like win a game. They didn't do anything. So yeah. But then like Oregon also like went on to the next round and then but still, yeah,
And
terrible performance.
then it was the Rose Bowl. Um, I I had a religious experience at this game. Um, I texted Riley and I said that I hope to God one day or maybe I called, it was when we were calling. I was like, I hope to God South Carolina is good enough one day to make the Rose Bowl. Like, I hope they get over the hump because, like, being there, it feels like a religious experience. Like it's college football mecca,
I was gonna say,
and
and
being
it's like
there,
it is a historic game.
it's also a shithole. It took us an hour to get into the stadium, and we almost missed kickoff.
Oh,
But
really? Because of like traffic or like
the stadium is a dump. Like they have not changed any of it since it first existed. Like it's super tight. I will say the Rose Bowl stadium itself is a dump. I have changed my opinion that I thought for a second I thought I was like, oh, the national championship should just be there every year. Maybe not. That it's kind of a dump, but it's still like a religious
and maybe
experience. It felt
tickets
like the
would be four
Vatican.
thousand dollars if it was at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. Um, And obviously, I was cheering for Indiana. I made that clear. My dad was cheering for Alabama, so it was a fun little like cheering for different teams. And boy, did IU just kill all. I was nervous going into this game for a few reasons. One, seeing how bad both of the first round bye teams had played to that point, and at this point now, we stand here with the first round bye teams being 1-7 in 8 games. But like Ohio State looked bad, Texas Tech looked bad. I was like, oh God, IU's going to be bad. We haven't played in a month. Um, the Alabama mystique got to me. I was like, man, I've watched Alabama for 20 years of my life, and I've watched them bullshit wins they shouldn't be able to get, and I've watched them win games because they're Alabama. And I was like, oh God, if that happens, I'm gonna be pissed. Like I'm gonna be so sad. That was nowhere near the case. Indiana went in there and bitch slapped Alabama for 60 straight minutes. It was an embarrassing, pathetic performance for the Crimson Tide,
Yeah,
but it showed that IU was they were the driver's seat for the national championship. Like people still to that point had been iffy on like Indiana. Like, oh yeah, they beat Ohio State, but what's gonna happen when they play a real SEC school?
see, this was
Well,
like okay, but we have said that Alabama didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. But
well, yeah, but like I'm just saying, like what? That's not what we thought. Like I thought that this Indiana team could beat anyone in the country, but the general media narrative was that Indiana needed to play like a real team, which is stupid, but like whatever.
I will say this is another one of the games that we said like also compared to like Texas just coming off of the Texas Tech Oregon game. I thought this was gonna be like I thought Indiana was gonna win, but I thought it was gonna be like a tough, like duking it out, like, and it was not at all.
Alberto was in the fourth quarter. We
It
had our
was like
backups.
it
We were
was
playing our
not
fourth
at
stringers.
all like a challenge for Indiana.
Herb Street and Fowler said it best on the main broadcast. They had never seen Alabama get beat this
No,
badly. Like,
it
I
was
think this is the worst
bad.
loss Alabama's had, just by scale of looking nowhere. Like, Alabama did not look like they deserved to be on the same football field as Indiana during this game.
No,
We, comma, IU, were just, it was, Mendoza was 14 for 16 for 192 and three touchdowns. Like, Fernando was good. I thought Fernando was really good, but like our running game was like unstoppable. We pretty much do whatever we wanted in the second half. I think we only punted like three times or maybe twice, made no mistakes, injured Ty Simpson in the second quarter. Which I guess was the also the thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. The score of this game is 38-10 with Ty Simpson playing. Like it doesn't change really
I was
anything.
gonna say they didn't score till he was gone. He was
And
still
they
there
only
for the
scored
first quarter, and
I
then they scored
actually
0
thought
points.
Austin Mack looked pretty good. Like as the second part of the Alabama fan in me, I think if he's the starter next year, that's not going to be bad. I thought Mack looked good. He had some good runs out of the pocket. There wasn't a lot he could do because at that point the offensive line was tired and Indiana was just getting pressure every single time. I actually thought Bama's O line did a pretty okay job in the first half of protecting Simpson, but then the second half they gave up.
Hmm.
Um, Simpson went down because he refused to slide, and then D'Angelo Pons cracked him. Um, Ponzi, who had heard everyone talk about how small he was, how undersized he was, just hit the shit out of Ty Simpson, broke his rib. Austin Mack comes in during the second half, and it was wraps from there. Yeah, this game was systematic destruction of Alabama. I think we watched the dynasty die in Pasadena. I think we can firmly say the book has been closed on the Alabama football dynasty. They're still going to be a good team. They're still going to be contending. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the playoff conversation next year. But this is the end of Bama being the team that everyone fears. I think Bama's just any other team now, which is insane. I didn't think I'd ever get there in my life, and
It's
let alone
tough
think
with
that Indiana would
Indiana.
be the nail in the
I was gonna
coffin.
say, yeah.
Um, but I do think that's it. I genuinely think that that's the end of the Alabama football dynasty as we know it, which is kind of insane that that'll be 2009 to 2025 in memoriam. I guess 2026 because this game happened then. Um, Also, shout out the Indiana fans. LA was completely taken over by IU. I think we had probably 85% of the stadium for this game. It was somehow even better for the Peach Bowl, but this was pretty cool. Being here in person was also awesome. Lost my voice for like a day and a half. Um, yeah, great game. Domination, just utter, complete domination. Um, Moving on to the Sugar Bowl. Best game of probably the whole playoffs.
I mean, it's the closest one, hands
I
down.
think actually, I forgot. I think there's going to be two Ole Miss games in my top 10. I think the Fiesta Bowl might also end
I
up
was literally about
potentially
to
being
ask, is
there.
it both of their not both. Yeah, both of their
Two
playoff
of their
games.
three playoff games. This
Yeah.
game was bonkers, batty, off the walls, insane.
Well, there's almost
Um,
fought for this one. Hello?
Dude, Trinidad Chambliss, I have never seen a quarterback enter flow state the way he did in the fourth quarter of this game.
Hmm.
It is one of the most impressive individual performances. He had, I think it was like 13 straight completions that resulted in like two or three touchdowns. The Some of the play calling by Ole Miss was just beautiful, just great design from Pete Golding and the OC, whose name I do not know. They pulled it back. They had gotten punched in the face hard in the second quarter. Georgia scored
Hmm.
21 points, up 21-12 going into half, but they just kept fighting back.
They
Um,
fought in the second half. It was like, also, what a fuck you, Lane Kiffin. Like, we're like, we made it to the quarterfinals, and we're gonna like duke it out into the semis. And
Yep.
like they duked it out in the semis as well. Like it didn't
Yeah.
result in what they wanted, but they still fought like hell.
Um, yeah, just all the praise to Ole Miss. And now, but that does now mean we flip the coin and we talk about Georgia, a team that you and I finally had gotten on board with. For maybe the first time in the 3 years of the Red Zone podcast, the two of us were like, man, Georgia's peaking. They look great. Like they did. But going into this game, I would say Georgia was maybe the second favorite to win the national championship in my mind. It was IU, Georgia, Ohio State.
Some of
Georgia
them was
looked
like
incredible.
Miami.
Dominated, dominated Bama in the SEC championship. Finished their year in incredible form. Laid the biggest egg possible in the quarterfinals. I Some of the play calling. I know that Georgia fans hate Mike Bobo, but I started to hate Mike Bobo during this game. The fourth quarter was a disaster. Um, Honestly, it was was it this? Yeah. So in the fourth quarter, Ole Miss had just gone up 27-24, and the momentum had shift. Georgia goes three and out, and it's 4th and 2 on their own like 33. And so Kirby Smart does the same thing Notre Dame did to them last year, which was he brought their punt team out, rushed them off, brought the offense back on. The issue was that Ole Miss had kept in a zone defense the entire time and was just ready for this to happen. So instead of calling a timeout, Kirby Smart called the play. Play went through. They Gunnar Stockton, a rusher, unblocked on the right side, gets to Stockton, who fumbles. Ole Miss recovers, scores literally 2 plays later. Like just coaching malpractice cost them the game. You cannot say that this like if you don't do this, who knows what happens? Maybe Ole Miss goes down and they score a touchdown anyway. But like actual coaching malpractice. Kirby's an incredible coach, but I sometimes feel like the only coach that's better than Kirby is like, or the only way that sometimes you can beat these Georgia teams is just having Kirby beat himself. And this was one of those. In addition to Trey Chambliss turning into God himself and Ole Miss playing probably their best game of the whole year, but like Georgia, man, killed themselves with some of those mistakes and killed themselves with some of the mistakes when they got down to the goal line at the end of the game. And Georgia had 1st and goal on the 8 yard line, and they went 5 yard run. And I think it was a bad play call that led to a 3 yard loss, incompletion, field goal leads to Ole Miss going right down the field, scoring a field goal, winning the game.
Hmm.
I just the one time this Georgia team had finally found form, and they were inconsistent in this game.
Which
What
again,
a surprise! Um,
oh
I would
no.
say this is. I would say this
It
is
is
a
a little
season.
disappointing because a great game. It would have been amazing to see Miami play Georgia after Carson
Yeah,
Beck.
part of me was rooting for Georgia because I really wanted to see
I wanted
Beck.
to see it felt like it was like meant to be, and then
It
it just
was,
didn't happen,
but
unfortunately.
also Georgia losing is kind of funny. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know how you classify this year for Georgia. I don't like. Obviously, we aren't Georgia fans, so we don't really know what the expectations were. I think to me, it's a little bit of a disappointment if you're a Georgia fan, just knowing how well they were playing towards the end of the year. Like this was there for them, especially with how wide open the playoff field felt. Like even though Indiana was like killing teams left and right, like I still felt like this felt pretty wide open, especially when we got to the semifinals and it was Indiana, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Miami. It was like, damn, any one of these
Like
four teams
no,
could
yeah.
win.
Any one
And
of
I
these teams
think,
could win because especially like with the exception of Indiana and like maybe Oregon. Me personally, I did not see Miami and Ole Miss in the semifinals, most likely. Like I thought Georgia was in there for sure, and I thought Ohio State was in there for sure. And then like going in, like it could have been Texas Tech or Oregon. So like, with the exception of like the Peach Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl like matchup made no sense if you were looking at this from the beginning of the playoffs.
I I think that like, yeah, it'll be an interesting off season with Georgia. I'm sure they'll be here again next year.
Totally.
because it's Georgia. But also the end of this game was really funny. They kept like bringing the stage out and they kept reviewing stuff, which I know everyone hated because obviously like just end the game already. But annoyingly, all three of the calls the refs made were the correct ones. So like technically them ending the game and then restarting it three different times is the right call. And then it was semifinal time. Thursday night was the VRBO Fiesta Bowl. Miami beats Ole Miss
Good.
31-27, once again behind a bonkers fourth quarter. This was just a good football game. This felt big time. Um, Very similar to the Notre Dame Penn State game last year in the semifinals. I thought that this game was really good. Back and forth, good duel in quarterbacks. That was the best Beck played pretty much the entire playoffs. The
Yeah,
interception as well, I don't think was his fault. I think it was like a deflection on the line or something like that. Um, so yeah, he threw an interception, but like it wasn't really one of those like normal Carson Beck ones, like the one he threw in the national championship. Um,
that was terrible.
this game was incredible, just strength on strength. Just two very good football teams going up against each other.
Yeah.
Um,
And again, good on Ole Miss for their performance in this playoffs.
this is a
Like
very
we already
successful
said
year for the
about
Rebels.
like the quarterfinals, what a fuck you to Lane Kiffin. Making it all the way to the semis, like truly, like good on you. Like
Making
probably
it all the way
running
to the
on pure
semis
anger.
and
Like,
being one call away from having a chance to go to the Natty.
yeah,
Like, and we'll we'll discuss that. The final play of the game, the Hail Mary to the end zone, 100% was pass interference. I cannot believe that that was not called. Um, I know it's the last play of the game, and we never call pass interference on Hail Marys, but like it was like a 30-yard pass to the end zone. Um, I think they just didn't call it because they didn't want to. They didn't want to be the bad guys that had to call the like end of this game. And like I think whatever Gene Steratore or whoever the rules analyst guy was like, oh, it's just good old fashioned hand fighting, and this Miami guy is like draped over the Ole Miss guy and he can only catch the ball with one hand. Um, it kind of sucks that that was one of the way the game ended. It still doesn't for me. It doesn't take away from my enjoyment, but that was 100% pass interference.
that would just sting as an Ole Miss person. Like, yeah, it's truly just a disappointing, but still, I think I'd be
I think
very
it's a
proud of
good
myself
season.
if I like, yeah, especially like right after losing Kiffin. I mean, yes, not a sad loss because I think by the time that he was gone, everyone was happy to see him go with the like the bullshit that he put them through. But like very impressive to make it this far and be so close and like
I
just
think
really like duke it out in these past games. So
I think that's a good. I think you would also be confident if you were an Ole Miss fan because like they looked good under Golding. Like I think
Mhm.
there's legitimate hope for the next few years for
Who
Ole
is going to
Miss.
play in this game? Is he going to LSU or no?
Charlie Weiss, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll have a new OC next year. But at least he
I
stayed
mean,
with
but
them
they
during the
have
playoffs.
potential without Lane, so like I
Yeah.
would feel fine. I would literally best outcome for Ole Miss. Well, not best outcome, but like great outcome for Ole Miss next season. They make the playoffs while LSU sits it out in like the Gator Bowl or some
Or
shit.
they just beat Ole Miss, or they beat LSU in week 3 or week 4, whenever that game is.
Well, yes. But I mean, like
Um,
LSU's not making the playoffs next year.
no. Um, And then that brought us on to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So I have been going to games in Mercedes-Benz for years. I was at the first ever sporting event held in that stadium, which was Alabama, Florida State in 2017. I have never, one, heard the stadium that loud than the D'Angelo Pons pick six, and two, seen the stadium that taken over by a single fan base in a neutral site. I think it was 95% Indiana fans. Like
They're like sleeper agents now.
we
They're like,
turned
we
it
went
into
to
a
a
home game.
non-football school and now we're a football school.
This game was just just demolition. IU was up 35-7 at halftime. We started the game. I think when Ponzi picked off Dante Moore on the first play of the game, I was like, oh, this could be fun.
That's literally as soon as that I was watching this, like the beginning of this game, and as soon as that happened, I was like, it's over. I was like, it was the first play of the
And
game,
like
but I was like,
Oregon came back on the next drive.
Oregon screwed. Yeah, but not, but like a 30-point margin.
Like or no, next drive, Oregon looked really good. Defense looked bad, tied 7-7. Offense
Yeah,
went
but it
down the
was an
field,
element.
made it 14-7. At that point, I was like, oh cool. 14-7. This is like I think this is gonna be a good game. Like I thought I was like, oh, we're gonna win, but like this is gonna be a good game. And then the second quarter from hell happened for Oregon, which the drive chart goes something to the line of 3-and-out punt. IU then punted back, fumble, touchdown, punt, touchdown, fumble, touchdown, missed field goal.
Yeah.
It was
I think
over
I
at that point.
texted you this. I either texted you this or like talked about it to you later. The mistakes that Oregon made in this game were just
You
bad.
can't you can't beat IU
Bad.
making mistakes like that. Like
No.
IU does
You
not
can't
make
make mistakes
mistakes,
like that. Whoever you're playing in the freaking semifinals of the college football
but
playoffs.
especially against a team that like IU, we didn't make a single mistake almost the entire playoffs. Like you can't do that against a team like IU. And so Oregon shot themselves in the foot. Dante Moore did not look very good. Um yeah, we kicked in this game. It was just it was dis- and you know what the funniest part about it is? Oregon led in total yards, passing yards, and rushing yards. Oh, I know. I think we might have beat them in rushing yards, but they beat us in total yards and passing
Mistakes?
yards.
Like literally.
IU had 28 points off of a combined 31 yards of total offense. Like if you four of our drives in this game that equaled 28 points also only had 31 yards of total offense. The pick six, which was 0 yards, the touchdown after the first fumble, which was 3 yards, the touchdown after the second fumble, which was only 19, and then the touchdown after the blocked punt, which was 4 yards. So like you just can't make
The
those
block
mistakes. And it's another wet fart end of a year for Oregon after the Rose Bowl last year where they got destroyed by Ohio State. It's another one of those years for the Ducks. Dad duck. And then I know we've done it all. It was the national championship, and we took it home. IU wins the national championship 27-21 in an incredible football game. Just a
This was
very
a
like
great game.
felt like a national championship. Maybe not for the first half, but when the second
The
half hit,
first half, I did already say it. The first half was boring, but then
this
like the
game hit
second half
overdrive.
amped it up. I also we were both talking about like we were both a little wrong. As like I genuinely thought that Miami was about to get destroyed, and then like by the end of the first half, I was like, yeah, I didn't expect like Indiana to not score this like high, but yeah, this makes sense. And then it like amped up, but I genuinely thought that Miami was about to like get destroyed by Indiana.
Um,
But congratulations. If I hadn't, I texted you this, but congrats. Must feel great.
we'll talk about the game, and then I can talk about my experience being in a national championship winning city, which is pretty cool. Um, the game itself was really good. It was just two good football teams. First half was yeah. Second half, Miami adjusted incredibly well. Their defense, no defense had ever given our O line the business quite like Miami did. I think Malachi Tony is, other than Jeremiah Smith, maybe the best player in all of college football. Mark Fletcher continued to be good. I'm not gonna get into the little scuffle he had with Tyreek Tucker after the game because no one really knows what actually happened there. Um, yeah, the Mendoza touchdown, it will be on my wall soon. It won't be visible. It'll probably be like behind my
Him
computer.
diving.
But yeah, him diving, I'm getting a framed picture of that, and no one can stop me. My two national championship magazines are going to go there and there, or my Big Ten winning one's going to go there, and national one's going to go there. Um, what a game! The blocked punt for a touchdown for Mikael Kamara, the Nando touchdown, Charlie Becker coming up with the most important catches of the game when we needed him. Omar Cooper showing up, just averaging 20 yards a reception almost. I thought Kalen Black was incredible. When the run game wasn't able to get much, Black had 17 for 79. Hard fought 79 too. And this IU team, they refuse to lose. Like they, this team, God, I love this football. God, I love this football team. I could be here for years talking about every one of the players on this team in deep, literally every player. I just love to death. Um, it's it's special. Being able to win the national championship is pretty cool. Carson Beck ending the game on a meatball marinara toasted sub is poetic. A
I
player,
literally called it.
a
I
player
turned to the
that's
people that I was
been
watching with and I said, "Oh, wouldn't it be freaking hilarious if he ended this on an interception?" And then right after I said that it happened, and I was like, "Oh my God."
and someone who has been a main player of this podcast in all 3 years of us doing this, we have complained about Carson Beck, and it's over now. We don't have there's no more Carson Beck for us to talk about, and he ended it on the most fitting way possible.
Literally.
Um,
He ended it the most Carson Beck way. Number one country in the nation.
Shout out D'Angelo Pons, who I thought had maybe one of his best games as an Indiana player. Lewis Moore did incredible. We just had a lot of good pass breakups. No turnovers once again from the team. I thought they had they were a little uncharacteristic of some of the penalties they got, and obviously third down didn't go very well. But just as a shout out, this Miami defense, I hope we never have to play ever again because Hakeem Mesidor, Ruben Bain, and Keontae Scott are probably the three best defenders in the country. Um, yeah, man. National champions. I
Yeah.
still cannot believe it. It's pretty
I will
cool.
say like oh, dude, I was just gonna say watching the fourth quarter of this game, especially as someone who was just like obviously like I want you to have a good time and like be happy, but as someone who for the most part is just like, let's go football. It was a great fourth quarter, like really entertaining to watch, just of like, oh my gosh, like
It
what a
was good
game.
against good. It's what you want in a national championship.
Yeah, it's exactly what you
Um,
want in a champion, which is why like when we were talking about it before, I was like a little bit like it's gonna be disappointing, like Miami's gonna get like blown out or like whatever. But it was a good game. First half was boring, like I said, but good game. Yeah.
yeah. And being on Kirkwood, which is downtown Bloomington, with if you've seen videos, it was like completely packed. There were couches that were getting burned. Um, we were like climbing on poles and like tearing down street signs. We turned Kirkwood into Philadelphia. Um, it was
Like you're hockey fans now.
just insane. Um, Truly special. This is the most special national championship I've encountered. It's the seventh one for me, which is unfair. I acknowledge that. It's unfair that I have been
What's
able
that
to.
like? That sounds
Pretty
fun.
cool. It's pretty fun. Um, but yeah, I love this team. It's a shame that I won't be able to talk about them anymore because I don't know. Like, this year was fun. This team was so much fun to
We're
cover.
talking about them next week though.
Well, but we're not going to talk about them
Not
in
like new
like
things.
we're not going to be focusing on them. Like when we talk about games, that's like a two-way dance. Like we're not going to be focusing on Indiana anymore. And that's
Fair
this
enough.
specific team, and that's sad. Best of luck
Yeah,
to
like
literally
200
everyone.
some days.
Elijah Surratt, just everyone, Aiden Fisher, Nico Radicic, our kicker who only missed one field goal the entire year. Devin Boykin. I can go on. Like this list can go on forever. I can name every player on our roster. Um, but being able to bring home the national championship is it's an unreal feeling. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's just I this Indiana football was in the gutters 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like this is college football's forgotten franchise. We had lost the most games of any college in college football history, the highest losing percentage of any team in college football history before this year when Wake Forest passed us. Um, just college football's forgotten team. Like Indiana has never been good. Indiana had three bowl wins prior to the playoffs this year. They got three bowl wins in 19 days. They matched
Which
that.
is crazy.
Um, so pretty cool, pretty fun. I will never forget this for the rest of my life. Um, yeah, it's a sad the year is over, and it's sad that I can't
But
cover this team
good way
anymore.
to cap it off.
Yeah. Um, and it's a good way to cap off our main coverage.
Thank
If
God
you have
for
anything
March
else,
Madness, keeping us, tiding us
oh
over.
yes.
Maybe we'll
Um,
do a March Madness video. We'll
we
see.
could we should do March Madness coverage
Like at least
this year.
one. We need content
Um,
for the middle of the year.
um, yeah. I This was a great year. Great college football year. Always fun doing the podcast with my best friend. It will continue to be here next year, year after that.
Because we got renewed, you guys.
Guys, we got renewed. We're
The
glad to
producer
announce
said yes.
we've signed a 3-year $0 deal to continue doing this podcast
With ourselves.
with ourselves. We both came to the decision. We signed the contract. Then we handed ourselves that same contract. Um,
I wrote one half, Nate wrote the other. We traded and then we signed those. It was
yeah.
perfect.
So you're stuck with us for another few years.
Until the producers
Um,
say,
yeah, maybe, and maybe we will even, I don't know, do new things next year. Experiment. Bring on,
playoffs, maybe.
bring on like a, bring on Nick Saban.
Yep. That's the logic for
Let's shoot
next year.
high.
We're like, we have like no money, like no producers, but then we're like, next season, Nick Saban's coming on.
I can offer him this bottle of Tums.
Oh, perfect. I got a water bottle.
He's bound to join.
Yeah. Free water bottle, free Tums.
Free Tums. But that, at the end of the day, that's all we got. At the end of the day, it is night. Riley, you
Wow.
got one last motivational quote to end out the year?
We're going Ferris Bueller with this one. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while, you could miss it.
And
So,
on that note, that season 3 of the Red Zone podcast has come to an end. You will see us in the coming weeks with the top 10 games of the year video. Obviously, make sure to keep following us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, not Twitter. And
you
continue
said YouTube?
keep up with us, keep following. Have a good off season,
We're gonna
guys.
experiment with content, guys. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, you better like it. But anyway,
Like,
as
subscribe,
always,
comment down below.
I've been your host, Nate Cohen, joined by my lovely co-host Riley Davis. And that was the Red Zone podcast for the 25-26 season. Go Hoosiers!
Bye.